The Hawaii federal judge who halted President Donald Trump's revised travel and refugee ban has been receiving threats. He is reportedly set to receive 24/7 protection. U.S. District Judge Derek Watson began receiving threats after he stunted Trump's effort to restrict access to the U.S. for the second time. His ruling also began a campaign of people saying they would boycott Hawaii. The U.S. Marshal Services has since sent around a dozen deputies to provide Watson with continuous protection.
A Trump administration will change our failed trade policies, and I mean quickly. Thank you. Here are 7 steps I would pursue right away to bring back our jobs. Number 1, I am going to withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which has not yet been ratified. I'm going to appoint the toughest and smartest, and I know them all, trade negotiators to fight on behalf of American workers. I'm going to direct the Secretary of Commerce to identify every violation of trade agreements a foreign country is currently using to harm you, the American worker. I will then direct all appropriate agencies to use every tool under American and international law to end these abuses, and abuse is the right word. Number 4, I'm going to tell our NAFTA partners that I intend to immediately renegotiate the terms of that agreement to get a better deal by a lot, not just a little, by a lot for our workers. And if they don't agree to a renegotiation, which they might not, because they're so used to having their own way, not with Trump, they won't have their own way, then I will submit under Article 2205 of the NAFTA agreement that America intends to withdraw from the deal. Number 5, I'm going to instruct my Treasury Secretary to label China a currency manipulator, which should have been done years ago. Number 6, I'm going to instruct the U.S. Trade Representative to bring trade cases against China, both in this country and at the WTO. 7, if China does not stop its illegal activities, including its theft of American trade secrets, I will use every lawful president. Hey, look, this is very easy. This is so easy. I love saying this. I will use every lawful presidential power to remedy trade disputes, including the application of tariffs consistent with Section 201 and 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 and Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. Hillary Clinton and her campaign of fear will try to spread the lie that these actions will start a trade war. You already have a trade war, and we're losing badly, badly.
Thank you very much. I just went to the Oval Office and found this beautiful letter from President Obama. It was really very nice of him to do that, and we will cherish that. We will keep that, and we won't even tell the press what's in that letter. I want to start off by telling you I just spoke with Governor Nathan Deal of Georgia. Great state, great people. Florida affected, Alabama affected by the tornadoes, and just expressed our sincere condolences for the lives taken. Tornadoes were vicious and powerful and strong, and they suffered greatly. So we'll be helping out the state of Georgia. We'll be speaking with Governor Scott right after this, and we'll be, Alabama is a special place, Florida, a special place, but they got hit hard. They all got hit hard. But looks like Georgia's lost at least 11 people as of this moment, a lot of people. So on behalf of all of us, Governor Deal, condolences. We are going to tell you that this has been a very interesting few days. We have set up meetings with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and Prime Minister May will be coming over to the United States shortly. We're also meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada, and we will be meeting with the President of Mexico, who I know, and we're going to start some negotiations having to do with Nafta. Anybody ever hear of Nafta?
The case of an associate Cook County judge shot dead outside his Southside home. Cook County judge. Dead outside his Southside home, didn't have a chance to go cold.
And while any act of violence in Chicago is one too many, this incident took from us a valuable partner in the fight to take violent offenders off the streets.
I feel whoever got him, they targeted him. I feel whoever got him, they targeted him. I feel whoever got him, they targeted him. I can't say it was a random thing.
Investigators agree. Tonight, they're still looking for other suspects they believed may have helped shoot and kill a Cook County judge.
Welcome to the NWI.com Political Roundtable for Sunday, December 8th. I'm Robert Blaskowitz, Assistant Managing Editor of The Times. Join with me Doug Ross, Editorial Page Editor of The Times, and Times Assistant Managing Editor Chris Ivanovic. This is a special edition. We're going to be talking about specifically the Ileana Expressway and the vote coming up. If you look at today's, this will be posted on Sunday, so if you look at Sunday's edition of The Times, we have plenty of coverage.
And there will, as readers will read today, a lot of impassioned voices, new voices that we interviewed talking about they will lose their farms, they will lose their homes, or they will have a giant tollway 20 feet from their backyards. It's very, I think it's very hard for them to accept, and while I think we all support economic development, it is a gut-wrenching thing. I sense and believe that it will go forward. For good or ill, that it's, a third airport is sure to follow no matter what anyone says. A third airport is sure to follow no matter what anyone says.
I think, it goes on a fast track. If it doesn't happen, I think it just gets delayed for a while and the idea will come back up later.
I agree. I think the idea will come up. I mean, even if they lose, I think it'll be a close vote, and that the proponents won't let it go, especially because there seems to be support in Illinois. I think it's an idea whose time has come, and sometimes you just can't stand in its way. It eventually will out.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got both governors for it,
right,
and a very conservative governor in Indiana. I mean, you've got both governors for it,
right,
and a very conservative governor in Indiana for, the senators speaking out, Senator Kirk and Senator Coates speaking out.
I ran a campaign somewhat based on Nafta. But we're going to start renegotiating on Nafta, on immigration, and on security at the border. And Mexico has been terrific, actually terrific. And the president has been really very amazing. And I think we're going to have a very good result for Mexico, for the United States, and for everybody involved. It's very important. It's a very, very important thing.
This here is the outskirts of Laredo, Texas. The future breaking ground of the Nafta Superhighway. Right behind me is the bridge that connects Mexico to the U.S. Connects the towns of Nuevo Laredo and Laredo.
Washington are in denial about the Super Nafta Highway, or whatever you want to call it. It's the concept that there will be a highway, free trade, from Mexico through the central part of the United States all the way to Canada.
In Texas, planning and development is underway for what are officially called transportation corridors. The Trans-Texas Corridor, I-69, a combination of rail lines, utility lines, car and truck lanes, planned to be as wide as 3 football fields laid end to end. It will be financed by a private foreign company who will then own the lease on the road and the revenue generated by the tolls. Texas may use eminent domain to lay claim to some of the land needed to build it. For an imaginary road, there is a lot of money and effort involved in some very real opposition.
Superhighway program, despite telling the public that first it didn't exist and then the legislature shot it down twice. It affects the entire nation. But begins down in Mexico through Texas up into Canada. They even have the whole highway planned out with the highway markers for all the way into Canada. But then when you talk about it, they say it doesn't exist. They've been building the Nafta Superhighway from Mexico into Texas and up into Oklahoma. It's all over the news here. And they go on CNN over the years. I've played the clips and go, Ron Paul is insane. There is no Trans-Texas Corridor, Nafta Superhighway. When it's all Department of Transportation and publicly admitted and billboards up everywhere, then they go, it doesn't exist. And then they say, oh, we're not going to build it now. And then they sign an order and bring it back in, even though the legislature said no, because they're having the states go and pay for it with taxpayer money. And then the globalists get the tax money off the toll roads. There's 40-plus major interstate highways, another 40 other corollary roads that they, in the official Department of Transportation documents, say they want to take over, put taxes on, and fund the North American Union with. And it's an artery right down to the Pacific side of Mexico, with the biggest port now in the hemisphere to bring in Chinese goods. And it's an international corridor, like the Romans used roads to control things. And I made the film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, almost 3 hours long. About 30 minutes of it is on this subject. And it shows Bush giving speeches saying we've merged the North American Union with the EU, all the agreements. I mean, we're already way down the hole here. So all of that's going on. And that's what this is about. We're already under a North American Union. But the states twice voted it down. Texas is the main funding artery to fund it all the way up into Canada. They've got mile markers all the way to Canada. It's marked for mile markers all the way for something like 2,000 miles. But they just call it the I-35 shoot-around outside Austin. But it goes all the way to San Antonio. It's there. And CNN, I've played the clips, you've seen it, would say Ron Paul 4 years ago is insane. There is no Texas Superhighway. There is no Trans-Texas Corridor. We had billboards all over the state with a cowboy going, I like the Trans-Texas Corridor, and paying tolls. And they had ads going, yeah, it's Trans-Texas Corridor. Texas is proud to be part of the Nafta Superhighway system. I'd go to movies and see ads before the movies going, Texas is a proud part of the North American Union. I appreciate all you're doing. Meanwhile, we go, hey, we don't want this. It doesn't exist. And that's a psychological warfare term called gaslighting.
Manitoba has been working with the Canadian government and state governments in the U.S. to protect and enhance our access to key trade markets. In response to U.S. border security measures, Manitoba will begin offering an enhanced driver's license as an affordable and secure form of identification for travelers. The new license will be available in the fall of 2008. Manitoba is also taking a major role in the development of a mid-continent trade corridor, connecting our northern port of Churchill with trade markets throughout the central U.S. and Mexico. To advance the concept, an alliance has been built with business leaders and state and city governments spanning the entire length of the corridor. When fully developed, the trade route will incorporate an inland port in Winnipeg with pre-clearance for international shipping.
April 4, 2017. Atlanta attorney assassinated after filing request for I-85 bridge explosion documents. A grim new Foreign Intelligence Service (SVR) report circulating in the Kremlin today says that Trin Hein, one of the most knowledgeable construction attorneys in Atlanta, Georgia, was gunned down in broad daylight yesterday just minutes after she filed legal requests at a federal courthouse for all U.S. and state of Georgia documents relating bombing of the I-85 bridge.
Good morning, folks. We're going to try doing this supplemental video, stardate 4/2/2017, coming to you from planet Earth. Guess what happened to the I-85 bridge? The official conclusion is it went poof. We can't say the B word because if we do, we get edited and audited and all kinds of bad things happen. Apparently, the bridge collapses and chokes off traffic, but someone said they heard explosions. Boom, boom, boom. Poof. So somebody went in and started photographing what happened at the bridge. And guess what they found? First of all this material has been removed in 24 hours. Yep, blown right at the base. Those pillars were blown at the base. No rebar. Not an expansion joint. Expansion joints are built with a lip. There's no lip. Hey, there. So, this bridge was built to be blown. Yeah, where's the lip for the expansion joint? Yeah, okay, all you trolls hitting my YouTube channel, where's the lip for the expansion joint? That's right, it doesn't exist in there. If that lip broke off, there would be rebar sticking out. Yeah. How many bridges have you built? I built quite a few. In the Army, we build them. If you believe that this was three homeless men who threw a joint onto a pile of optic cable worth hundreds of millions of dollars that had sat under the bridge for 10 years, then you probably believe that the passport that fell out of an airplane crashing into the World Trade Center and was found at the bottom of the World Trade Center without even being singed was real, and you might even believe that the plane hit the Pentagon. Duh. These were seared off at the base with explosives. No lip on the expansion joints. This bridge, like about 3,000 other overpasses in this country, were built to be blown.
Well, a woman is shot and killed while crossing the street in Midtown, and police say she may have been targeted.
It happened on Peachtree Street. It's still not known who shot her. And Christy Hutchings with News Radio 106.7 spoke with a witness who heard the shots and saw the man running away.
Well, it was 7:40 in the morning. There were city crews out here working, people on their way to work. But when those shots rang out, everything came to a halt.
I was on my route coming down Peachtree, and I heard the 3 gunshots. Tony Booker says moments later, it was chaos.
And I look up, and I just see the woman, she just drops. Boom, she drops in the crosswalk, bleeding. She like clutching her wound, trying to keep pressure. And then as she went unresponsive. So civilians, they run out here, and they try to give her chest compression to bring her back while they holding pressure on her wounds.
But the woman wouldn't survive. She died at Grady. Now police have to try to figure out who did this and why. Lieutenant Ricardo Vasquez says at this point Atlanta police speculate she was walking to work. Officers canvassed the area looking for witnesses and any video, but a motive, that's unknown.
I don't think we can rule out anything at this point. Again, very, very early in the investigation. Tony
can't forget what he saw moments before the shooting.
There wasn't no like domestic dispute. It was just she was walking across with her bag like she was going to work or something, and he just boom, 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 and he just takes off. And so it was just crazy.
An I-85 investigator was gunned down in Atlanta yesterday. They identified the victim, and they're claiming that the suspect on Channel 46 had all dark clothing. Witnesses say Channel 46 lied. Here is a picture of the shooter. His iris patterns have been identified, which means we know exactly who he is. The Atlanta police has the data, and they're not pursuing him. So what happened, may you ask? After the state of Georgia Department of Transportation released information clearly stating it stored non-combustibles under the I-85 bridge, people began to wake up, like UPS. Why are our trucks being rerouted, and why is it costing us all this extra money? In fact, if you look at the photos we showed yesterday, there was no stored material under the bridge, and those pillars were solid, not hollow, and they were meant to be blown. So Trin filed a force majeure in the U.S. District Court to have all information about the CIA and FBI takedown of the I-85 bridge released. The force majeure would hold all parties involved harmless, including the deep state FBI and CIA departments. She then stepped out of the federal courthouse and was shot 3 times by an FBI pig and died there on the streets. Amazingly, no American was armed and shot back at this. We believe it's an FBI-paid assassin. The CIA would use a heart attack gun. The FBI, they're really stupid. They just walk up and shoot somebody. Different methods of killing in different agencies or departments, which are agencies of fascist corporations. So the FBI, in their wisdom, appointed someone who will block everything. Meet Andrew McCabe. He's the FBI director who helped investigate Hillary Clinton's use of private email while she was Secretary of State. Anderson's wife, Jill McCabe, received nearly $600,000 in donations to her Virginia State Senate campaign from Hillary Clinton bundlers and from Clinton ally and Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. In other words, they appointed a real deep state Nazi satanic pig. This is unbelievable. The FBI just shot her for filing a request for information. Well, it's obvious. Somebody blew the bridge. And the people who blew the bridge are on camera. And the Atlanta police are not releasing that information.
Well, the morning and evening commutes made much worse for a lot of people today by the collapse of the I-85 bridge.
Now, we first showed you the shocking images last night on Fox 5 News at 6. Tonight, Portia Bruner is live where all of this happened. Portia?
Yeah, and I can tell you it's been a very busy day. Lots of things going on, really sort of on parallel streams here. I'm going to step out of the way here. You can see police are here. Beyond the police barriers there, you have a lot of contractors who've been arriving from the Cobb County, the Marietta company that's going to be charged with the demolition, taking this down. We've got a $10 million that's already been approved, and I'm told those funds have been transferred, if you would, to get this process underway. You had the inspection of the structures, the investigation into exactly how all of this happened. We do know that this was PVC pipe used for fiber optics. The Transportation Commissioner says that it is not uncommon for states to store surplus construction material under the highway. He says it is locked, it was secured, and it's not supposed to end up going up in flames. And that is why investigators are trying to figure out exactly what happened here. We do know that the commissioner says that this is going to take several months to get this 350 feet on both sides of the interstate repaired and replaced. Here's what he had to say.
Even a plastic cup in your cupboard, it does not ignite. It takes something to cause something like that to burn. So boots are on the ground. We have actually are underway with a local contractor, C.W. Matthews Contracting from Marietta, to start this demolition work as we develop plans and can give them more plans. The flow of funds from U.S. DOT Federal Highway has happened.
So at this point, we know, again, several months. We're talking 700 feet of interstate that have to be torn down, rebuilt, replaced, along with the pillars. Now, I should point out, had an Atlanta police officer come up and say that part of what's slowing down the process in some of these access areas before people get turned away, drivers actually using their cell phones to try to take pictures of what's going on, but they really need people to keep it moving. This is going to be a new way of life getting around Metro Atlanta now with this section of 85 out of the way, and they need everyone to really do their part.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Great
sir.
job. Thank you. That's good. Hi, Elaine. Yes, that's okay. That is fantastic. Thank you. How are you?
It's fine, sir.
We're going to go around, introduce ourselves, okay? We'll do this first. You know these folks back here, they're very famous, most of them. It's called the media. They're very honorable people. But you're more honorable, I can tell you that.
Well, thank you, sir.
So I'm honored to be here with you today and welcome you to the White House. The heroes who responded to the terrible bridge collapse on I-85 2 weeks ago in Atlanta. That was something. It was the whole world was watching that one. Today we're joined by members of the Georgia State Patrol, the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department, and the Atlanta Police Department. Great people. On that day, Georgia State Police and Atlanta Police took fast action to get motorists away from danger. Then our brave firefighters battled 40-foot flames, which was incredible. What was the reason for those flames? It was something underneath that just was very combustible. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, those flames were amazing. They pulled back by battalion chiefs, and just minutes before the bridge itself collapsed, and everybody was safe. That was an amazing thing. And everybody was watching. Your skill and courage saved many lives and represented true strength and the true strength of America. Really great job. I was proud of you. Great job. To the people of Georgia who are affected by the collapse, my administration stands with you. We've already made a $10 million emergency relief funds available. And I called your governor, who I know very well, who's a terrific guy, and I approved it literally the day that it happened. I had a feeling you'd need a little money, because that looked like a big money deal, right, Elaine? But I approved it immediately, and Elaine took care of it, and we gave fast action. What happened in Atlanta is a painful reminder of the critical importance of infrastructure, of the critical importance of infrastructure, of the critical importance of infrastructure, which we're going to be doing a lot with infrastructure. You'll be seeing that over the coming weeks, tremendous amount. Which we're going to be doing a lot with infrastructure. You'll be seeing that over the coming weeks, tremendous amount. Which we're going to be doing a lot with infrastructure. You'll be seeing that over the coming weeks, tremendous amount. I'm committed to funding a massive nationwide infrastructure program. I'm committed to funding a massive nationwide infrastructure program to rebuild, repair, and construct the roads and bridges of the future of this country. To rebuild, repair, and construct the roads and bridges of the future of this country. This is necessary as a matter of both safety and economic growth, and it's necessary to improve our quality of life as Americans. We will also continue to seek proper funding for law enforcement and public safety in our country. And I thank you for the great job and the fast action. Really fantastic, a lot of bravery.
This is truck traffic at the border crossing in Laredo, Texas. More than $3 billion worth of imports pass through this crossing alone every month, all headed north. Since the implementation of the North American Free Trade Agreement, the flow of imports from Mexico to the United States has exploded by more than 400% at just the Laredo crossing, as American manufacturers have rushed to take advantage of Mexico's cheap labor.
Ford Motor Company has made a decision to invest $9 billion in Mexico. And what this highway provides is a way for them to bring goods into the United States to be sold here with none of the jobs being located here.
The highway she's referring to is actually several different projects collectively known as the Nafta Superhighway. The routes are a combination of existing roads, planned expansion of others, new roads, and rail lines. The routes are a combination of existing roads, planned expansion of others, new roads, and rail lines. The project's funded with a mix of private, state, and federal funds. The trade route begins at Mexico's ports on the west coast and runs all the way up to Kansas City. The facilities being developed there, known as the KC Smart Port. The project's aimed to expedite trade flow. The combination of reduced inspections at the borders, insurgent Chinese goods coming through Mexican ports are raising concerns about security.
Now, NAFTA has a few other planned operations that are in the same bundle, if you will, like the Nafta Superhighway. And the Nafta Superhighway is used to refer to certain existing and proposed highways that sprawl throughout the USA and connects the US with Mexico and Canada. Now, NAFTA is an acronym for North American Free Trade Agreement. North America Free Trade Agreement. And I would like to encourage you to look up all the things that I'm telling you. So the North American Union, the NAU, is supposed to have a currency, as I mentioned. And this proposed currency is supposed to be the mirror when the NAU comes into force, if it ever comes into force. This is all written down. If you research this information, the words that I'm giving you, you'll see that this very much seems like it's gonna come along, especially when you take into consideration that the EU has the same situation as far as the borders, because when the EU was established, the borders in Europe between Germany, Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, France, Poland, Denmark, all of these borders were gotten rid of.
Just can't get away from everybody talking about this NAFTA Superhighway. Yeah, nobody's talking about it. It's a giant roadway that will run across the United States connecting Canada and Mexico. Why is no one talking about it? Because no one will admit to it. It's only crazy people like me that have even mentioned it, dare mention it on the air. I've told you before and I'll tell you again. When it comes to the government, it's all about misdirection. They grab your attention. Hey, everybody, look over here. And that's when they're doing the real work in the shadows over here when no one's looking. But, sorry to break it to Washington, I see you.